I would like to share an idea I have on what causes depression. I hope that perhaps understanding it can help solve it for some people. Depression is a severely low mood and a perceived inability to improve your mood. I think the low mood comes from the man or woman's current position in life. For some reason it does not satisfy them and they see no satisfying future ahead of them. Hence, they have no hope and they feel bad. Each of us has a starting point, history, the present and future. Our starting point and history can be called our roots. It seems during depression the key thing is the roots. It determines what you have and where you can go. And for some that can look very hopeless relative to the roots. Some superficial advice is usually to look on the bright side of life. However, what if taking in mind your roots, the brightest side still looks like a depressing concrete wall? What if your location, your family, your friends, career, all point to a range of possible futures that are depressing from worst possible scenario to best possible scenario? Your career and the place you live allows you only so many opportunities. Your friends and family are interested in you staying as you are. So, what can you do? I think the key to solving depression is getting back hope. That is, a hope for a better future. So if that looks bleak, you need to change the range of your possible futures so that they look much better than your current situation. You may ask, how can I do this if my roots already determine my possible futures? I'd say, have another hard think if you can make your future better with what you have. However, in theory there is another way. That would be changing your roots, starting anew, changing your starting point. You need the contrast between the present and the better future to be as high as possible, and that will, by definition, give you hope for a much better future. So how can one do this? Let's take the example of the dead-end mid-level job scenario. There is nowhere better to go, so what if you make your roots worse intentionally, in order to make the future appear better? Some would say that wouldn't work. That will mean you will become an alcoholic, get hooked on drugs, and destroy the lives of those depending on you. However, that is not what I mean. Doing those things does not change your roots, it just worsens your present situation, and the future along with it. What one could do to change roots is relocate, pick a new job in an entirely different area and profession where you are just a beginner. Hence, this new relatively lower point in your life makes you look forward to a much better future. If you look at how some people have dealt with depression, it is in this precise way. And I would argue it is because they were dissatisfied with their old roots and possible futures, so they set up new roots, even though their best possible future in the new roots might not be much better or might even be worse than the best possible future in the old job. I think this works because human pleasure is driven by contrasts. As long as we have an uncertain path towards a better future, we are excited about life no matter how shit the best possible outcome. If you are a deep thinker, you might reflect on what I just said and say, what's the point of continuously resetting your life in this way? If we don't get to anywhere better in the end, it's still depressing. Well, firstly, it's still better than the starting point of total stagnation and a certainly bad future. By taking another path, you would, by examining alternative paths, try and choose the best one, and at least take a gamble for a better future, in addition to taking pleasure from the struggle itself. The struggle is also more likely to open your eyes to new opportunities. You may start on one path but be pulled to another more promising one in the future, by something you see or learn on the way. But yes, I cannot say for certain that the new path will end up better in the end. You may end up changing your roots again. But I would say that is fairly unlikely if you make an informed choice at the beginning. And even if you do end up changing your course, it is not the worst thing in the world. Key to this is understanding that uncertainty in life cannot be avoided. A lot of depression seems to come from a dependency on certainty. This is a key realization. You should acknowledge the uncertainties in your life, make your best guess, and take the chance for starting new routes. If you are considering this path to deal with depression, You can try thinking of yourself as a cutting from a rotting old tree that is put into new soil to root and thrive for many years to come, bringing many fruit and benefits to itself and those around.